All right, everyone, welcome back into the channel. It is time for another Green Bay Packers 7-round mock draft. Now, this will be version 2.0, but essentially is the 5th mock draft I've done of the Green Bay Packers. I started off with a 3-rounder, then did 2 5-rounders, but this will be the second 7-round mock draft for the Packers on this channel. And if that does interest you and you're not subscribed yet, go down and click subscribe to do a mock draft here every single week for the Green Bay Packers. Among many other things for the Packers, we go over free agents, we go over salary cap, and of course the draft. So if that does interest you, definitely go down and click subscribe. Now for this 7-round mock draft, we're going to do one more with no trades. Like I said, I kind of want to get a couple under my belt where we just keep the picks where they are. Now, obviously, that's not going to remain. The Packers are going to move around this draft. They have a lot of ammunition. Brian Gutekunst has mentioned this. So I do believe the Packers, whether they trade up, trade down in certain aspects of this draft, it definitely will happen. But I like to get a couple mock drafts out of the way, just kind of a feel for some of the players that'll be around where the Packers are set to pick. So let me know down in the comments if you want next week's mock draft to include trades. Once I start including trades, then I will continue to include trades every single mock draft. Like I said, this one's going to remain the same, but let me know down in the comments if you want that next week. As for the Green Bay Packers draft needs, they remain the same. The Packers still have a big need at defensive back, primarily safety, and also cornerback in terms of a slot defender. I think they have a need at linebacker because I think Devondre Campbell is a player that they move on from in this offseason. They have a need at offensive line somewhat. I think they could grab a versatile guy even early in this draft to potentially either play guard or someone that is a really good tackle, where then they move Zach Tom into the interior, whether that's at guard or center. Me personally, I want Zach Tom to stay at right tackle, but that could be the case. There's also a need at running back. The Packers really don't have any need at wide receiver, which I feel like I haven't been able to say that in a very long time. You know, we could go through this draft and the Packers might not draft a single wide receiver, which I don't know the last time they did that. All right, so without further ado, let's dive down into this thing and bring up the screen. Obviously, the Green Bay Packers pick at pick 25. And like I said, we're not doing trades in this mock draft, so we're going to let it ride. Let's see what the picks are. All right, so let's quickly go over the picks in the first round. Caleb Williams goes at number 1 to the Bears. That's seeming more and more likely as the weeks go by, which I'm, I guess, all for. I mean, I guess I'd rather them keep Justin Fields because we kind of know what he is, and we know, you know, he's not going to bring them to the Super Bowl by any means, but Caleb Williams, we have no idea. I mean, a lot of people think he's a generational talent, but we really have no idea. Drake May at 2 to the Commanders. Malik Neighbors, the first wide receiver off the board at 3. I would be very shocked if that's not Marvin Harrison. But again, this is a simulator. Sometimes it simulates weird things. Brock Bowers at 4 over Marvin Harrison. Joe Alt at 5 over Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison at 6. Look, if the Giants get Marvin Harrison at 6, man, that's insane. Cooper DeJean at 7. Again, PFF has him ranked very highly. Cooper DeJean, maybe he could crack the top 10 if he has like an absolutely insane combine. But I see him more in that like 10 to 20 range. Nate Wiggins at 8. Byron Murphy at 9. Roma Dunze at 10 to the Jets. That would be a really nice addition for them with Aaron Rodgers. Jaden Daniels at 11 to the Vikings. Jared Verse to the Broncos. Quinyon Mitchell to the Raiders. J.C. Latham to the Saints. Dallas Turner to the Colts. Terrion Arnold to the Seahawks. Jackson Powers Johnson to the Jags. Latu there to the Bengals. Jerzon Newton to the Rams. Fashanu to the Steelers. Fuega to the Dolphins. Fuega all the way at 21. Man, if he's sitting there at 21, the Packers very well could trade up for Fuega there. Ladd McConkey to the Eagles, Futano to the Texans, and Ennis Rakestraw Jr. to the Cowboys. So now we're on the board at 25, and this seems to happen a lot, where it seems like one of these cornerbacks are always available, whether it's Rakestraw or Kool-Aid McKinstry. Personally, I like Kool-Aid McKinstry better for the Green Bay Packers than Ennis Rakestraw. I'm not sure Rakestraw's a massive fit for the Packers. There's also a couple wide receivers. I don't see the Packers drafting a wide receiver in this draft, let alone in the first round. You got a couple tackles here. And one I wanted to talk about is Graham Barton, because to me, this screams like the Packers pick in the first round. As of right now, we're 2 months out, but right now, like, normally you go through the draft process and the Packers end up picking in the first round. You're going, didn't expect that guy, right? I think Graham Barton would be that guy. that you'd go, didn't expect that guy. And a lot of you might be going, oh, well, we already have a left tackle. It's Rasheed Walker, and this guy's played left tackle the last 3 years. He has a lot of versatility, and he likely will line up at guard or center in the NFL. And he has so much versatility, and we know the Packers like that, and he's a great offensive lineman. And I think if the Packers were to draft an offensive lineman at 25, it might be Graham Barton, because he could play center, he could play guard, he could even play tackle, right? He has so much versatility. We know the Packers love that. I'm not going to select him here because Kool-Aid McKinstry is on the board, and the Packers have a bigger need at cornerback. And I think McKinstry is good value here at 25. An 88.8 overall grade last year, allowed 19 receptions on 39 targets, 205 yards, allowed 1 touchdown, no interceptions, but a passer rating of 73.1. Last year, a passer rating allowed of 57.9. The year before that, 79.7. So never allowed over an 80 passer rating in the last 3 seasons. Coverage grade 87.8. Run defense grade 83.0. So good against the run as well. Man coverage 74.7. Zone 83.8. Completion percentage really low, 48.7. He had 10 forced incompletions, only 3 missed tackles, 8 coverage stops. And if we look at his lineups, he's outside perimeter cornerback, 769 snaps there this year, 774 the year before. Now, although he mainly has played outside, he does have some versatility. Like Kool-Aid McKinstry could be a slot cornerback in the NFL depending on scheme. He's very physical. He's great in press man situations, and we know the Packers might want to run that more this year. I don't think that's all they're going to run. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, they're only going to run press man. It's not the case. Even at Boston College last year, I think they only ran press man like 30 to 40% of the time. So they're going to be running a lot of different things, and I think Kool-Aid McKinstry fits into that mold very well, and he gives the Packers versatility and depth, and much needed depth at cornerback. He fits their threshold, 6'1". He has the length, 195 pounds, just turned 21 years old, so he's still very young, and he's played very well against some very good teams. So I think this is an easy pick at 25. He's like my cornerback 2 or 3, kind of up in the air with, Arnold, Wiggins, and of course DeJean. I have him over Ennis Rakestraw, and then maybe even Quinion Mitchell. So I think this is an easy pick for me here at 25. So we are going Kool-Aid McKinstry at pick 25, cornerback out of Alabama. Before we dive into the second round, I want to let you guys know that today's video is being sponsored by Sleeper. And right now on Sleeper, if you sign up using code BASS, B-A-S, using the link down in the description, you can get a first deposit match up to $500. And also, when you're a new user on Sleeper, as you see here on the left, they offer promotions for new users, and right now for the slate of NBA games tonight, you can get a new user promotion. Steph Curry more than 0.5 points, so it's a free pick there. So then you can add Steph Curry, you can go into the Lakers picks, you can go into different NBA games tonight. You can add all of these together, and once you have all your picks selected, as you can see here, I have 4 here for higher and lower for 4 separate players. I'm in tonight's game, Lakers versus the Golden State Warriors, and right now mine's at a 9.75x, which if I put down $20, I could win $195. And you can add as many picks as you want, up to 100xing your money. And again, signing up with the link down in the description below, or using the QR code on the screen here, using code BASS to sign up, you can get a first deposit match up to $500. So if you were to deposit $500, then you'll have $1,000 to play with. And guys, through Sleeper, I'm still giving away this signed Quay Walker full-size Packers helmet, and the way to enter is sign up for Sleeper using code BASS and make a deposit. $10 deposit minimum, and of course you'll get that matched, and that'll enter you in this giveaway. It's as easy as that. This giveaway will run through the end of February, and I will announce the winner on my community tab on YouTube on March 1st. Remember guys, supporting the sponsor is supporting the channel. So head over to Sleeper, sign up, check out the app, make a deposit, and at the same time get entered in this awesome signed Quay Walker Packers helmet. All right, so now let's dive down into the second round where we have 2 picks. We have a pick at 41 and a pick at 57. Of course, the pick at 41 being from the New York Jets due to the Aaron Rodgers trade. And right now we're on the clock, and there's some players on the board that I definitely take a liking to. Zach Frazier being one of them. Have yet to mock him to the Green Bay Packers. He's definitely a center option. He's probably center 2 overall after Jackson Powers-Johnson. That depends if you consider Graham Barton a center. More wide receivers, Jatavian Sanders at tight end. There's a couple edges as well. One very intriguing is Chop Robinson. You might be going, going, well, the Packers don't really have a need at edge. Well, you know, you can never have enough pass rushers, right? There's a couple tackles here. There's also Edgerrin Cooper. There's also Mike Sainristil here, who is a nickel cornerback. Don't know if I would go back-to-back cornerbacks right yet. I still think we can get a nickel guy in this draft. Definitely, if you were to pick up Kool-Aid McKinstry, then also get a nickel guy. But right now, I think my main idea here is getting an offensive lineman in Zach Frazier, because I think he would be an instant upgrade over Josh Myers. And I know, you know, another second round center, right? But Josh Myers right now, we kind of saw his ceiling, in my opinion. We know what we have with Josh Myers. It's not terrible by any means, but I think you get an instant upgrade with Zach Frazier, 6'3", 310 pounds. Last year didn't allow a single sack. Great pass block grade, good run block grade. Last 3 years, all these snaps at center. And Frazier's also very pro ready. Like, he'll be a starting center day one in the NFL out of this draft. He has extremely high IQ, which obviously we know the Packers love their offensive linemen to have. And I just think the Packers need to add more interior depth. Josh Myers does have some guard versatility. I personally don't want him there. But Zach Frazier, I think, would be an instant upgrade at center. But on the flip side, I feel like I could still get some interior offensive linemen around rounds 3, 4, 5. And we know the Packers love to draft linemen around those rounds. And the Packers tend to really value priority type positions like edge, and Chop Robinson sitting here at pick 41, I feel like the value might be just a little bit better here at pick 41 over someone like Zach Frazier. I mean, Chop Robinson is like some people's edge 3 or 4 in this entire draft, and you see why. I mean, 90.8 PFF grade last year, 90.6 the year before that, pass rush grade 92.3. The Packers have a good amount of depth at edge, right? You know, you have Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary. Preston Smith is only getting older. You, of course, have Lucas Van Ness, who I think is going to take an awesome jump here in year 2. Then you have Kingsley Enagbare coming off a late year ACL tear. Will he be even ready to play this season? You have Brenton Cox Jr., but you can never have enough pass rushers, and the Packers kind of switching to more of this 4-3 front. I still think they need to add another one, and I think they will draft one in this draft. And I think if you're sitting here at 41, you kind of sometimes have to take BPA, you know, best player available. And for me right now, it is Chop Robinson. So as much as I would love to have Zach Frazier at center, because I think he's a day one starting center, Chop Robinson, I can't pass this up right now. So I am going Chop Robinson at pick 41, edge out of Penn State here in the second round. So here we are at pick 57, and I was looking to go after someone like Edgerrin Cooper, but he went at pick 51 to the Rams. So we're here on the clock, and some players on the board. Mike Sainristil, definitely a nickel option at cornerback. Jaden Hicks, kind of a box safety. We have Kyrie Jackson, Chris Jenkins. You have some running backs here, Jonathan Brooks. You also have Kalen Bullock at safety, Christian Haynes at guard. You do have Junior Colson here at linebacker, but you also, in terms of safety, have Cameron Kinchins. Now, PFF has him ranked as their 80th best player. I think he's a lot higher than that. I think he goes early in the second round, early to mid in the second round. I have him over Kalen Bullock. I have him over Jaden Hicks. Kalen Bullock is a really good prospect, though. I think he could be a nickel guy. He could be that, you know, press man nickel type of player, but he could also move him around some. But I think Cameron Kinchins is a little bit more versatile. You know, he could still be a deep safety in a single high, but I think he's best when he's downhill, aggressive, physical type of safety. And you do worry the slump he kind of had in 2023, but back in 2022, he was probably the best safety in the country. And if he was in the draft last year, he'd probably go in the first round, right? So you could see the talent. You could definitely see the talent. 379 snaps deep last year, 110 in the box, 113 in the slot. So again, he offers a lot of versatility. He allowed 4 touchdowns, had 5 interceptions, a 67.8 PFF grade, right? Again, PFF isn't the end all be all. This doesn't mean, oh, this guy was terrible this year. This guy wasn't great this year. It's still an above average grade overall. He had 52 total tackles with only 10 missed. He did allow a 118.4 passer rating. But overall, I have him higher than Jaden Hicks. I have him higher than Kalen Bullock. And yeah, we could definitely use a nickel guy. I think you can get that a little bit later, and the Packers just have a bigger need right now at safety, and we already got Kool-Aid McKinstry, who can play some nickel if you need him to. So I think safety is a more need at this moment at pick 57. And again, I have Kinchins over Bullock and Hicks. So at this pick at pick 57, we are going Cameron Kinchins, safety out of Miami. Now we are back on the clock at pick 88. Surprisingly, Xavier Leggett is here. And normally I don't look at wide receivers because the Packers really don't have a need there. But this is definitely an intriguing one. If he was available at pick 88, would the Packers go ahead and select a wide receiver? You know, an outside guy, 6'3", big framed, 227 pounds, kind of like that A.J. Brown type of frame, right? Last year, 71 receptions, 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. And a lot of sites have him as like a top 40, top 50 player. So I think the value here, again, this draft I'm kind of looking at like BPA more so, because I like to switch some of my mock drafts up and kind of look at it at different angles. We have pick 91 as well, and I really, really like Jalen Wright. This is a guy that reminds me a lot of Aaron Jones, and he's been flying up board. So in a perfect world, I mean, we might go ahead and try to do this and get Xavier Leggett. I mean, this dude might run a 4.3 40 at 6'3", 227 pounds. Like, we haven't seen a guy like this since DK Metcalf came out of the draft. And yeah, just 1 year of production, that 1,255 yards last year. Great receiving grade. Really good contested catch, a red zone type of guy. The only thing I worry about drafting a receiver early like this, and it is a third round, but, you know, who's he going to take snaps away from? You have Christian Watson, who, if he's healthy, right, he's on the field. You have Romeo Doubs, who's one of our most consistent guys, but, you know, I think his ceiling is a wide receiver too. You have Jaden Reed, who had an awesome rookie season. You have Tay Wicks, who had an awesome rookie season. You also have Bo Melton, who came on late to the scene. So it's like, if you draft another guy, that's like 6 guys that are all potential, you know, could be starting in this offense, which I guess, you know, having more weapons is better. So again, this is very, very easily BPA. And he's not going to be here at 88, and I don't like saying those type of things because we're 2 months out of the draft. You know, DK Metcalf fell as well, so it could happen. But I'm going to go BPA. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go Xavier Leggett here at 88, wide receiver, South Carolina. And man, oh man, here we are at pick 91, and it fell exactly the way I wanted to. And Jalen Wright still on the board here. I'm going to go back-to-back offensive weapons. You know, the Packers have a need at running back. And Jalen Wright, man, if you watch some of his tape, just the way he runs and the type of player he is, 5'11", 210 pounds, still only 20 years old, will be 21 by the draft, I believe. He's very Aaron Jones-esque. 91 grade last year, 1,000 yards, also 22 receptions. He had a 91.2 rushing grade, 88.8 zone grade, great elusive rating, great gap grade, yards after contact per attempt, awesome. The Packers do have a need at running back, as I said. This would make A.J. Dillon expendable, right? You just have Aaron Jones, Jalen Wright, and maybe a later round guy or free agent for your third guy or Emmanuel Wilson. And he's been flying up boards, and I think this is excellent value here in the third round at pick 91. I think the Packers getting a running back right around third round, fourth round, maybe fifth. They're definitely going to get one in this draft. And if it's Jalen Wright, I think in future years, it's just going to be like, wow, we have Aaron Jones again. Like, that's exactly how I see him. If you want me to do a breakdown on him, he's a player I'd really like to do like a prospect spotlight on because his tape's so fun to watch. So here at pick 91, after going Xavier Leggett, which I didn't think I would do, we're going to go another offensive weapon. We're going to go Jalen Wright, running back out of Tennessee. So now we're here in the fourth round. Tyke Smith is here, who's a safety who is going to kind of transition to a nickel type of role in the NFL, and I really do like him. 5'10", 205 pounds, 84.0 PFF grade last year, 53 tackles, good coverage grade, good run defense grade. But I think we need to address offensive line. I think we need to get some depth there because we have yet to do so. We passed on Zach Frazier. We didn't get, say, Graham Barton in the first round. And it's the fourth round, right? Like, death taxes and the Packers selecting a lineman in the fourth round that becomes an all-pro. And I've already drafted him in like 2 or 3 mock drafts, and that's Cooper Beebe here. Cooper Beebe screams Green Bay Packer. 6'4", 335 pounds, has some versatility, right? Mainly a left guard, played some right tackle this year, 103 snaps there, 83.9 grade this year, 80.5 the year before, 85.4 the year before that. Has allowed 2 sacks in the last 3 seasons, 79.9 run block grade, 90.4 pass block grade. He is a mauler type of guard in the run game, and I say this every time. The Packers need to add more of those guys. I think Sean Rhyan is one of them, and you need to add another guy in there to compete, right? I don't think John Runyon's back, in my opinion. I think he signs with another team, which, okay, whatever. I like Cooper Beebe better, even though he hasn't played an NFL snap. And I think, you have Elton Jenkins at left guard, you have Josh Myers at center, and then you have Sean Rhyan, you add Cooper Beebe into the mix, right? You have competition there, and you really build out like a mauling interior type of offensive line. I think the Packers need to do that. And here in the 4th round, I think this is tremendous value. A lot of people have Cooper Beebe as like their second best guard outside of Christian Haynes, and he probably will go before this. But again, we're 2 months out, so he's here in the simulator. I'm going Cooper Beebe, guard out of Kansas State, here at pick 126. Here we are in round 5 with a comp pick at 168, and I'm going to look at linebacker. Linebacker is a need for me. As much as I would love an Edgerrin Cooper in the 2nd round, the draft didn't fall that way, and there was other players that, were higher BPA in my opinion. So here in the 5th round, I'm looking to address it. And that would be with Cedric Gray. He's by far the best linebacker available here in the 5th round over Steel Chambers, Tyron Hopper, and Jalen Ford here. And Cedric Gray, although on the lighter side, 6'2", 235, this dude plays heavier, if that makes sense, plays more physical, and he's an extreme athlete. He has a 36.5-inch vertical. He's benched 390 pounds, and in a game this year, he was clocked over 20 miles an hour. So this guy is an extreme athlete. I think he's going to have a 9.5 plus RAS, and he's a great run defender. He's really good at filling run lanes and stopping running backs, and that's something the Packers are going to need at linebacker. Yeah, Isaiah McDuffie kind of is that, but I think adding another guy into that room after they likely cut Devondre Campbell, he very well could be here in 2024, but the Packers should still draft a linebacker for the future. 74 grade this year, 82.2 last year. This year he had 80 tackles, so a little bit of a down year compared to last year, 115 total tackles last year. Run defense grade 62.7. He's a lot better than that. He's good against the run. Missed tackle rate right about average. Coverage grade 78.0. He allowed 34 receptions on 49 targets, allowed 1 touchdown, had 1 interception, 4 forced incompletions, and a passer rating of 79.0. So he has cover ability as well, especially being an extreme athlete, extremely fast, strong, physical. So here we're going in the 5th round, Cedric Gray, which I think is awesome value, linebacker out of North Carolina. Here in the 6th round, we're mainly looking for depth, some special teamers. I mean, we have 4 picks left in the next 2 rounds. So I'm going to double dip into safety here. We already got Cameron Kinchins. I believe the Packers are going to sign a free agent, someone like Jordan Fuller or Jordan Whitehead. There's plenty of options at safety in the free agency this year. But I still think the Packers could sign a free agent and draft 2 safeties. And I think Omar Brown is a nice pick here in the 6th round after doing some research on him. An 82.8 PFF grade this year. He had 49 tackles with 11 missed. Run defense grade 74.3. And we see he's mainly been a slot defender. He only allowed a 62.7 passer rating, 35 receptions on 59 targets, no touchdowns, had 1 interception, 6 forced incompletions. And we didn't necessarily draft a slot defender yet. Kool-Aid McKinstry can play there. Cameron Kinchins can kind of play there. But we haven't drafted a guy that's like, wow, that's pretty much all he played last year. And that is who Omar Brown is. 434 snaps last year in the slot, 6'1", 200 pounds. So here in pick 203 in the 6th round, we are going Omar Brown, safety / nickel defender out of Nebraska. Here with our 2nd pick in the 6th round at pick 216, another compensatory selection. I think I'm going to go another offensive lineman, and I'm going to go for a natural center in Tanner Bordellini from Wisconsin, offensive line university. I feel like they always produce so many offensive linemen, especially in the later rounds where guys get drafted and they end up becoming starters in the NFL. Tanner Bordellini, mainly a center this year. Last year he played left guard, right guard. The year before that he played right tackle, so he has versatility. We see in 2021 he had 9 games and 87.0 at right tackle, so he has versatility. He's a good center, right, for a 6th round pick. This is a good depth guy. He allowed 3 sacks over the last 3 seasons. Not a great run block grade. He's better pass protector, but he could definitely do well in the run game. But he is mainly a better pass blocker, an 80.3 pass block grade there. So here at 216, we are going Tanner Bordellini, center from Wisconsin. Here in the 7th round, we have 2 more picks. So again, you're kind of just going depth here. And I think the Packers could add a tight end in this draft. Yeah, they still have Ben Sims as tight end 3, but who knows if they want to continue with Ben Sims as tight end 3. So I think they could go like a 6th round, 7th round type of tight end. I do really like Ben Sinnott, but he's more of a, 3rd, 4th, 5th rounder there. So here in the 7th round, Tanner McLaughlin's probably my pick here in the 7th round. 530 yards last year, 456 the year before that. He's a willing blocker. I know it says 53.8 run block grade here, but he's more of a blocking style type of tight end, not like a vertical seam receiving threat tight end. He has a limited route tree at Arizona. But, again, it's a 7th round. You're getting depth here, some special teamers. So we're going Tanner McLaughlin, tight end, here at pick 243. Here with our final pick of this 7-round mock draft, I'm going to look to add a defensive lineman, and in my opinion, the best option here is Jaden Crumedy from Mississippi State. He has a massive frame, 6'5", 305 pounds, and is a good run defender, 72.8 run defense grade, and is a physical type of defensive lineman, high motor, and versatile, right? You can move him around the defensive line, as you see there. In the last 2 seasons, he's had 7 sacks, so he can get after the passer as well. 7th round defensive lineman, who knows if they even make the roster, right? But we're going Jaden Crumedy, defensive lineman, Mississippi State here for our final pick. All right, so now let's go over all my picks for this Green Bay Packers 7-round mock draft 2.0. And in this mock draft, I really went BPA a lot. Like I said, I like to take different angles at mock drafts, not just always go what you need, and more so sometimes do a mixture of both with BPA and, hey, this guy is kind of close to BPA and it's a position in need. Kool-Aid McKinstry at 25 was definitely BPA in my opinion, and I think the Packers would gladly select Kool-Aid McKinstry at 25. Yes, they might want a guy that has more experience in the slot, but I think Kool-Aid McKinstry can play slot in the NFL, and he does offer versatility. He's one of the better cornerbacks here in the 1st round, and the Packers have a need a cornerback. Who knows if Eric Stokes even fully returns? And then we have Jair and a 7th round rookie from last year, right? I think they'll bring back Corey Ballantyne as well, but nonetheless, they need a cornerback. Round 2, pick 41, Chop Robin. This was definitely BPA. Like, the Packers don't have a massive needed edge by any means, but I think Chop Robinson sitting there at 41, just adding another extremely, athletic type of defensive end that can just get after the passer, right? You don't need to throw him into stardom right away. You have Lucas Van Ness, Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary going into next season. You need to add a 4th guy. Kingsley Enagbare is not going to be ready. Brenton Cox doesn't seem like the Packers really want to throw him into that mix just yet. So Chop Robinson, I think adding him into that rotation would be awesome for getting after the passer. Cameron Kinchins here at pick 57. I think he goes higher than this. At a D+ for PFF is actually hilarious because I think this is an excellent pick at 57. I think it's tremendous value, and we know the Packers have a need at safety. He has versatility. He's an aggressive physical safety, and, if he returns to that 2022 play, he's the best safety in this draft. So I think the Packers could use that. Obviously, we have a big need at safety. Pick 88, man. Xavier Leggett. Not something I thought I would be doing in a mock draft is taking a receiver in the top 3 rounds, but this just kind of fell into our lap where it's like you can't really pass it up. Like, if that's just sitting there at 88, Xavier Leggett, 6'3", 223 pounds or 225 pounds, going to probably run a 4.3, 240. I mean, he's just an absolute athlete. Like, you haven't seen it since DK Metcalf, and he very well could, compare to someone like DK Metcalf, extreme athlete, kind of fell in the draft. If the Packers have an opportunity to get him at 88, I say they do. And just add even more talent, which is crazy to that wide receiver room. Then at 91, we kind of go BPA again, but also at a position need. Jalen Wright at running back. He's been flying up boards. His comparison is Aaron Jones, in my opinion. And I think adding another guy like that would just be insane as a 2-headed backfield, 2 guys that run like that is awesome. It's Jalen Wright in the 3rd round at 91. I would be very happy with that pick. Then we go Cooper Beebe, who I feel like he's going to be this year's Carl Brooks, where I'm like, I like Cooper Beebe, right? And I keep mocking him to the Packers, and hopefully they follow suit, and hopefully he follows suit of Carl Brooks and turns out to be a great player, right? Cooper Beebe here in the 4th round. I've talked about him enough. I love that pick. Cedric Gray in the 5th round, someone I haven't really looked at until today. Great athlete, going to have like a 9.5 plus RAS, over 20 mile an hour clocked in last year. I think benches 390, has a great vertical, just overall great athlete and good run defender. Then we go Omar Brown in the 6th round. Again, 6th round, 7th round kind of depth guys. Omar Brown, a nickel defender last year, offers some special teams depth as well. Tanner Bortolini at center, getting some more interior here. He has versatility as well, a good pass protector. Then we go Tanner McLaughlin at pick 243 in round 7. The Packers could draft a tight end, kind of a blocking style type of tight end, but can be used in the receiving game as well. Then finally at 251, I would have liked to address defensive line much earlier, but the way the draft fell, just didn't. And Chop Robinson, you know, you add him to that 4-man front, it's kind of a defensive lineman, right? But Jaden Crumedy here at 251. I think that's good value in the 7th round, 251. I feel like he's a good player that you could select in the 7th round, and he very well could be like a rotational defensive lineman. So that does it for version 2.0 Green Bay Packers 7-round mock draft. Let me know what your thought is down in the comments of this mock draft. What picks do you love? What picks do you not love? And also, what players were on the board when I was picking, and you're probably screaming at the screen going, pick that guy, pick that guy. Let me know down in the comments below. I appreciate you guys coming by to the video. If you could, please leave a like down below. It supports the channel a ton. But I'll catch you on the next one. And as always, go Pack Go.